Hello, guys, and welcome to today's podcast. So, today I'll be discussing a good range of different topics, looking at life during the pandemic for me personally, and looking at some books I've been reading, looking back on life, where we all go from now, Future History X, and a few other topics like that. So here we are. It's Sunday night. Well, technically Monday morning now, 20 past 12. The clocks went forward here in Ireland last night. So reaching the end of March now already. So almost 3 months through 2021. It's been a very strange year, as 2020 was, of course. That's quite quiet at the moment, really, isn't it? But that's just how it is at the moment, and obviously we'll just have to keep getting through it. But I know that a lot of people are quite eager to get back to life as it was before the pandemic, although we suspect a new normal, both in terms of our relationship to potential viruses, and also you'd expect some long-term social changes. Now, appreciation will be one thing that you'd hope to see, people appreciating things more and appreciating each other more. I think that would be something that we would hope to see. Whether that would last is a whole different question, of course. I think history does show that people forget things and tend to repeat things as well. You do wonder how much our precaution about future pandemics, how that will pan out. Will it last for, indefinitely? Will it last for many decades and generations to come? Or will we be cautious for a couple of years and then we'll say, oh, well, that virus didn't turn out to be anything, and neither did that. And then before you know it, 15 years from now, another pandemic hits and we're like, oh, probably should have remained cautious. But you can only live in hope, really, can't you? And do your small part to push society in the right direction on that topic and to maintain the right level of precaution in relation to future pandemics, because obviously this one shows that we weren't prepared enough and we weren't precautious enough to avoid this happening. And perhaps if we had approached things differently, we could have avoided this situation. But here we are, and almost a year later, it continues. So I've been working as a full-time remote writer now. Started off just with one client. I was kind of doing a bit of. I'd also been doing a few online surveys at one point. So this is when I was just starting off my remote career, and but then as it went on, got a few new clients. Clients come, clients go. But overall now, things have improved now over the last year or so. In a decent situation at the moment. I have a couple of different clients. My income has improved, and just going to keep working and keep at it and save money, and go from there. So, Future History X, we're on to the 23rd century now with the next episode. I was considering before doing just the 23rd century as one episode, but I could break it up into a couple of episodes. We'll see. I'm going to be uploading 2 episodes now in the coming week, so I have that to look forward to. I will try and get back to space politics now. I know I've been saying it for a while now that I'll get back to space politics, but I think definitely in April I'll be able to do it at some point in April. Solar system sports. I know Baltori, you're the only person that seems interested in it, and maybe you've lost interest at this point, but I might go back to solar system sports as well. So we'll see how that goes. Kind of unfortunate, but it is a very niche topic. I mean, you're mixing sci-fi with sports. If you're into sports, you're usually not very enthusiastic about sci-fi. I'm not being overgeneralizing, but broadly speaking, that is true. And the opposite's also true. If you're into sci-fi, you tend not to be someone who's that big into sports. So I'm a bit of an anomaly on that in that regard. So it probably would have took a lot of marketing to get solar system sports out there sufficiently to reach the right people who would actually really, be enthusiastically interested in something like that. And maybe in the future, if I have enough money, I could invest into that. But for now, life goes on as such, and maybe I'll come back to it at some point. So just having a bit of wine tonight, Sunday evening, chilling out. Took a day off work, basically. Just thought I'd take it easy tonight. Been working quite a lot lately, and sometimes I end up working 7 days a week. Not full 7 days, but 4 or 5 full days, and then the other days of the week kind of like working half a day, quarter of a day. But it's nice just to have a day where you just say, all right, I'll just just take it easy today, just cut off and, then get back to work on Monday. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at basically. So I'm reading a few books lately. The Hidden Life of Trees is one I'm buying, or what I'm reading at the moment. See, I've bought a lot of science books over the years, but they're quite broad science books, and then they tend to get to touch on the same topics again. They look at like relativity, quantum physics. They talk about string theory. They talk about a lot of these things in the multiverse and so on. But it ends up kind of getting repetitive because it's kind of like introductory books to topics that I've already read introductory books to before. So I thought, okay, let me find something more specific. So I found The Hidden Life of Trees, and then I also bought The Fortunes of Africa, which is about it's about the history of Africa, kind of going back to ancient times, so about 5,000 years it covers. Because I feel like in the West, we don't know much about African history, don't learn much about it, but there's an awful lot there. So I'd be very interested in getting into that book now, The Fortunes of Africa and The Hidden Life of Trees. So there are two books. I haven't read them yet, so I'm not going to recommend them, but I suspect they're going to be very interesting. So once I've read them and I can confirm that they're interesting, then I'll make actual proper official recommendations then. Yeah, I want to read more in general, read more kind of books in niche areas, so I like to buy books about like different like animal species, learn about, the biology and the nature and the life of different species or different types of species. That would be one thing, or even learn more about like mammals and prehistoric animals in general. Because there's a lot of details that are there that would be quite interesting to learn about. Actually, I bought a book which I don't think it's arrived yet. Actually, oh no, it hasn't. I bought it about 3 months ago and it still hasn't arrived. About the Cambrian era and the Cambrian explosion. And let me type up, see what that book was actually called now. Again, can't recommend it yet because I haven't bought it. It was actually a little costly. It was a bit more than you'd expect, but I think it was one of those rare books that there's not much else covered on the topic. So that's the benefits for the writers of a monopolized topic like the Cambrian explosion. Because if you look up something like the Cambrian explosion on like eBay or Book Depository for looking for books, you won't find a whole lot. It's disappointing because it's a very interesting focus on topic. So much about dinosaurs, though. God, you could, you could read endlessly on dinosaurs. So what is this book called? Cambrian Explosion. The Cambrian Explosion, the construction of, and let me click on the link, animal biodiversity. The Cambrian Explosion, the construction of animal biodiversity. So I think the price has come down a bit now, actually. Yeah, but I ordered that like quite a while ago. So here you have it. Beginning of simple sponges more than 635 million years ago. I might be waiting that long for the book to arrive, but we'll see anyway. I might have to contact them and see what the story is with that. What the story is basically is like, what's the situation with that? I don't know if they say it outside of Ireland, but we have all our phrases here. I do wonder if I ever use phrases in videos that, people outside of Ireland are like, what the hell are you talking about? We do have some funny phrases, that's for sure. Yeah, so those are the books I'm reading at the moment. In terms of my own content, I'm, when I get the chance, I want to work on like novel writing, and I have a short film either that I would. Well, I've written a short story which I've been entering in the competitions. I'm going to continue to enter in the competitions, but I have a few short film ideas as well, and that short story in particular, I'm thinking of maybe making into a short film and filming it in 2022. Possibly, I'm considering it anyway. Definitely want to get back to more media production. I haven't made a fictional media production, at least nothing substantial anyway, since 2017, and that was the web series Personal. I have made a few documentaries. I made some documentaries in 2018, and I did make one last year, a short documentary, but in terms of fiction, I haven't done much now in about almost 4 years, about 3.5 years more so. So, I'd like to get back into that. Definitely like to get back into it, and maybe making one like real high quality short film could be the way to go. there's a few options there. But I made a bit of feature film before in 2016. It was decent quality, but of course, in terms of my camera equipment and stuff, obviously it's not going to be up to the standard that you'd want for making a feature film that you'd hope to succeed on the market, So that's kind of the thing about it. But look, I have no regrets about making feature film on an extremely low budget, or a non-budget, quantum budget, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it was a couple of £100 basically that I put into it. But if I save money and I want to make a feature film down the line, I could, have a few thousand saved maybe to make a project. But that would be, several years from now. In terms of expenses, obviously I need to make sure I focus on priorities, and car insurance and things like that will be quite costly. So there's a couple of things to consider there, but down the line maybe I could make a feature film and set aside a budget for that. So there's a few ideas I have in mind there. Definitely want to get productive again. I learned a lot, in the 2010s, like I'm looking back on it now in terms of media production. Developed my skills a lot, kind of dating back to around 2010, 2011. I joined this youth film group called Tally Young Filmmakers in 2011. Actually, we won an award recently. Or no, we didn't win an award, but it was this, I don't know if it's a real TV channel or it's like an online channel called St. Patrick. I think it's like St. Patrick TV. Let me look it up. So, St. Patrick's Festival TV. St. Patrick's Festival. So basically they classed one of our short films that we made, that I edited myself as part of that group back in, I think it was 2013, 2013. And they classed it as basically one of the best, I think it was 16 or 15 youth short films of the last 25 years. Was it how many? It was something. It was like a number like that, like it was like 15 or 16, or something like that. And so that was nice to see happen. And we did get a few awards. We won best youth film at Cinemagic Festival in Belfast back in 2013, and then in 2014, Fresh Film Festival in Limerick, which was the biggest sort of nationwide youth film festival, and I think it still is. So in terms of my own independent short films, one of them did qualify to that festival, called Make Bullying History, and that was back in 2012. I made that. That got into the 2013 festival. So that was So that was, I think it was like the third or fourth short film I ever made independently. So I've made quite a few over the years, but I would like to get back into it. Like I said, developed my skills a lot, learned a lot in the 2010s, and I feel like now I could maybe put it more into action in the 2020s. Although we get a nice little sarcasm there, a nice little break from existence basically for the first 2 years, basically of the decade it seems, and obviously that's it's kind of it's sad. It's a waste. It's time. Some people say it's not time wasted. There are a lot of silver linings for sure, but it depends on your circumstances. Depends on a lot of different factors. But a lot of people might say, well, in the end of the day, this is a lot of time spent indoors that you could have been spent, with people and doing more exciting things, But look, it is what it is. We've got this this deck, shall we say, at the moment, and we're just going to make the best of it, and hopefully we can, be in a much freer situation later this year and certainly next year as well. It's the hope, but like with a lot of things, you don't want to speak too soon. So let's just see how it goes. All right, so I've been kind of just looking at a few different topics there. I'm gonna obviously think through more in advance what I'm gonna discuss in future podcasts. This is more of an introductory, bit of a waffle of just kind of rambling about stuff. But I certainly will make something more specific for future podcasts where I think, all right, what am I going to discuss more specifically rather than kind of being too broad. But I thought I'd just get this up and running, and maybe every couple of weeks or every week or two, depends. I'm going to say every few weeks. I'm not going to promise every week, but I'll say maybe every couple of weeks I do a podcast like this. Could be interesting, All right. Anyway, listen, that's basically it for now. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a nice evening, and hope you have a good week next week, and a happy April, and don't be coming up with messed up April Fool's jokes. That's my advice. That's my advice for the coming week. All right. Anyway, listen. Talk to you soon, and I'll see you again next time.